This is an analysis of line 2 of the Azarbaal inscription. As we saw with line 1, we can only be so sure what the original context of this was, and that opens itself up to a lot of interpretive possibilities. Thankfully, the first word here is fairly straightforward. This word is typically taken as tishim, which is the plural form of the word 9, often translated and commonly understood as 90, and there isn't any controversy about that as far as I'm aware. However, there is controversy to be had in this inscription, as the letter forms, and even once those are established, the meaning of those letters in this section are far from certain or agreed upon. Starting off, the first 3 letters are pretty much universally acknowledged to be a shin, a lamed, and a mem, the same letters that make up the Hebrew root shalom. Now, the final 3 characters are not universally agreed upon, but they are typically reconstructed as a kaf, a samek, and a nun. Part of the issue here is what we don't see, and that is, unlike what we have between 90 and the start of this phrase, there is no word divider here. This leaves us with 90 and then a string of consonants, which we're not entirely sure how to make sense of. The way that Homestead has it in the recently released Phoenician inscriptions is just peace followed by 3 question marks as the translation of this line. However, like with KAI2, Kromolkov comes in clutch with an interpretation that is just crazy enough to work. Kromolkov argues that we actually don't have a form of the verb shalom here. Instead, he says that we actually have a version of the verb sheklim, which would be shikl in Phoenician, like the Hebrew word shekel. On this reading, the lack of a kof is just an orthographic mistake, which happens from time to time when writing in stone and you can't erase any of your mistakes. Now, the other move that Kromolkov makes here is to take this last letter, which we said was an N, and read it as a pei. This would make this kaf, samek, pei, kisp, or kesef in Hebrew, silver. While this makes the inscription readable, it does so by needing to add a letter that isn't represented in the orthography, and by needing to change the last letter into something that is not widely agreed upon. So I gave you both readings, 90 shekels of silver or 90 peace, question mark, question mark. These are decisions you gotta make when looking at an inscription that isn't all that clear.